Good evening. Sorry, I was coughing a bit. Apologies for being a couple of minutes late. There was news breaking, notable news, and I was getting it put out and brought up to talk about. Give me just a moment. Ooh, like I said, I was coughing, so. Gotta let my body relax a little bit or else I'll never be able to catch my breath. I'm telling you, COPD sucks. I'm okay if I stay ahead of it. So, alright. Anywho, sorry about that slow start. As I said, as I was getting ready to start the show, there was some notable news that broke, and I wanted to make sure to get that up and get everything arranged correctly with the tabs that I have open. As far as any updates, really nothing too exciting. Flew with Charles a little bit today around Hawaii, and that was some pretty scenery. Other than that, not much to note. Just paying attention to news as stuff came in, and there's not anything that I would say we need to start running around the house screaming. So. I've got my dirty cardboard for my cardboard signs, the end is nigh signs, but I haven't even pulled out the Sharpie to start making them, so just kind of giving you kind of a threat level assessment as far as I'm concerned. But I'll let you know when I start making those signs. So anyway, just kind of typical stuff. I mean, I don't expect anything to get better. I expect things to continue to go downhill. But at least, to my knowledge, we didn't really go off any cliffs today. So, again, not good directions of anything, as it has been, but could be much worse. So, we'll go ahead and hop right on in. Make this kind of a easy night. I wasn't even sure. I had to double check. That's right. It is my Friday. Have a sip of coffee. That's the rules. So anyway, I didn't know what the hell to name the show and to kind of put the show around. So I decided to pick out the Halloween story. However, the news that broke right I was getting ready to go live, had that broke earlier, I would have probably went with it. But before we even get to that stuff, I wanted to make you aware of an article that I posted out on Twitter. Once again, RT. You can either look on our Twitter if you want to check this out. You can either go check it out on our Twitter, or like I say, it's RT News. You just type in Google or whatever browser or search engine you use. Just type in RT space. Be careful what you post. It'll be the first thing that pops up. Promise. So I wanted to point this out though, because as you see, be careful what you post. How Facebook and the U.S. government have united against Americans with the wrong views. And again, I know it's RT. I know this is what they call propaganda. But propaganda doesn't have to be wrong information. It's just information that's used, with a political aim, right? To try to sway public opinion, kind of. It doesn't necessarily mean, propaganda doesn't have to be false, doesn't have to be true. It doesn't matter. propaganda is propaganda. Anyway, just because it is propaganda doesn't mean it's not true, and we all know this. And so I thought, well, this is probably a good article for folks to check out, because you don't expect the U.S. media to call this stuff out. So it's all, by the way, I did read it. I did read through it. It's a really good article. So it's not false information whatsoever. Nothing in there is false. That's why I love RT. I have went and double checked RT's articles time and time again. If there's anything that I even remotely question, I'll go and check it out. It's not like it's hard to do. Come on. And it checks out every time. There isn't a single time it doesn't check out. Okay, so this is the article that titled the show after. Another sip, because I'm cheating. Now, the article headline is a Halloween display paying homage to Stranger Things on hold after complaints. And I had watched the video. I'm going to go ahead and read the article to you. I'd actually watched the video. It says here, a Stranger Things themed Halloween display in front of a Plainfield home, that's in Plainfield, Illinois, is now closed after a neighbor voiced concerns about it. Things just got stranger for the suburban Halloween display of the same name after complaints from a lone neighbor forced the creators of the display to close it for now. Everyone seemed okay with it until they weren't, said Aubrey Appel, or Appel, I'm not sure, the Halloween display creator. Paying homage to the popular Netflix series, Appel, or Appel, and his family dreamed up the spooky seasonal setup displayed in their front yard. It replicates a scene from the show and features a lifelike mannequin dressed as the character Max Mayfield, appearing to hover in midair. It was just really cool. We saw it on TikTok. We thought it was so cool, where you couldn't see like any wires or anything, Kyle Mitchell said. The family said video of the display they posted not only got more than 14 million views, with everyone wondering what's keeping Max afloat, but also some unwanted attention from one neighbor who at first said they were okay with it when the family asked for permission before putting it up. It's upsetting to be told, like, we support you, we're behind you, we pardon me. I'm telling you, this stuff sucks. We understand why you are doing this, and to have that blow up in your face, Appel said. Possibly angered by the crowds and the popularity of the display, that one neighbor has accused them of bringing negative attention to the neighborhood, endangering the community's children, and making the neighborhood the target of possible home invasions because of all the spectators, the family said. Other people who live here don't agree with the complaining neighbor. It's just all families coming out to see the amazing setup, neighbor Trina Mahone said. The display remains shuttered for now. The family said they didn't mean to cause a fuss and were just looking to have fun. They plan to talk with city officials to figure out what they can do to reopen the display. So, howdy, Midnight Rider. So, one lonely neighbor was enough to stop this individual. Sorry for the hum. I completely forgot to turn that audio down. So one lowly neighbor. That's all it took. That's insane. That's insane. And I know what it's like. Now, I had more than one. I had two neighbors. And it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. That's not how this country's supposed to be. One person is not supposed to have the ability to completely run over somebody else, especially if so many others that would or would not be affected by the situation don't have an issue with it. One person. It's crazy. Crazy. Really thought that needed pointed out. I mean, it is Illinois. It is up near Chicago, I do believe. So, there's that. Now, this still isn't the news that was breaking when I went live, but this is in the same genre. U.S. comments on idea of deploying nuclear weapons to Poland. Says here the U.S. will not deploy any nuclear weapons to Poland or any other NATO nation in the Eastern Europe, the U.S. State Department Principal Deputy Spokesman Vedant Patel told journalists on Thursday. Earlier, Polish President Andrzej Duda floated such an idea. The U.S. has no plans to deploy nuclear weapons to any nation that has joined NATO post-1997, Patel said. When asked about Washington's reaction to Duda's words, the spokesman called Warsaw an important NATO ally in the region, but said that he is not aware of this particular issue being raised in talks between the two allies. His words came just hours after Duda said Poland could join Washington's nuclear sharing program and let the U.S. deploy nuclear arms to its territory amid what it sees as a growing threat from Russia. The Polish leader also claimed that Warsaw discussed the issue with Washington and such a possibility remains open. Currently, U.S. nuclear weapons are deployed in Belgium, Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, and Turkey as part of the nuclear sharing program. The 5 NATO members only host the nukes, which remain in the ownership of Washington. The discussion came amid concerns among the Western nations about a potential use of nuclear weapons by Russia, which is involved in a protracted conflict with Ukraine. Last month, Russian President Vladimir Putin warned that Moscow was ready to use all means to defend itself from territorial integrity if its territorial integrity was under threat. I'll spit it out, maybe. His words were then perceived by some in the West as an alleged threat to use nuclear weapons in the ongoing conflict. High-ranking officials in Moscow, as well as Russia's ambassador to the U.S., Anatoly Antonov, then insisted that Russia was not threatening anyone with nukes since it still believes a nuclear conflict cannot be won and thus should not be started. So, yeah, I can only go by the words that come out of people's mouths. Right? I can't pick up my phone and call Putin and say, hey man, you mean that? I really don't think Putin wants a big nuclear conflict. I don't. I'm not quite so sure about Washington, though. Seems like they like the idea. I mean, I don't know what else I'm supposed to gather. Hang on a second. Much better. All right. For the article that broke as I was going live, oh look, an ad, not an article. Sweet. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. No, decline. There we go. Sorry about that. I don't want it. Let's see. Biden says nuclear Armageddon risk the highest since the 62 crisis. So again, this came out, as you see in front of you, 17 minutes ago. Actually, a little more. President Joe Biden said Thursday that the risk of nuclear Armageddon is at the highest level since the 1962 Cuban Missile Crisis, as Russian officials speak of the possibility of using tactical nuclear weapons after suffering massive setbacks in the 8-month invasion of Ukraine. I've been kind of saying that for what? About a week and a half, 2 weeks now? Anywho, speaking at a fundraiser for the Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee, Biden said Russian President Vladimir Putin was not joking when he talks about the use of tactical nuclear weapons or biological or chemical weapons. Biden added, "We have not faced the prospect of Armageddon since Kennedy and the Cuban Missile Crisis." Biden also challenged Russian nuclear doctrine, warning that the use of a lower-yield tactical weapon could quickly spiral out of control into global destruction. There is any such thing, okay? This is Biden, okay? I'm quoting Biden. Don't judge. There is any such thing as the ability to easily use a tactical weapon and not end up with Armageddon. Biden said that. Not a kindergartner. They would have said it better. U.S. officials for months have warned of the prospect that Russia could use weapons of mass destruction in Ukraine, as it has faced a series of strategic setbacks on the battlefield as recently as this week, though they have said that they have seen no change to Russia's nuclear forces that would require a change in the alert posture of U.S. nuclear forces. Please don't make me quote Biden again. That's hard to do. Hurts my head, man. I'm telling you. Okay. And if that wasn't enough threats and whatever the hell, fear-mongering, here's more. Again, if I even remotely think it's time to start running around the house and screaming the end is nigh, I will let you know that I am starting to make my signs. Taipei issues warning to Beijing. Taipei has warned Beijing against carrying out any military flights into Taiwanese airspace, vowing to treat any such intrusions as a first strike, according to Taiwan Defense Minister Chu Koi-ching. Yeah, I'm sure I didn't get that right either. Addressing lawmakers at a meeting of the legislature's Foreign and National Defense Committee on Wednesday, Chu said, I don't know if it's Chu, Chayu, I don't know. What you say, man? Anyway, he said that any Chinese fighter jets or drones that cross into Taiwan's territorial airspace will prompt a reaction from Taipei and Chu. He recalled that in the past, Taipei vowed not to be the first to strike. Sorry, yes. I'm sorry, I'm ridiculous, I know it. Unless the Chinese army fired the first artillery shells or missiles upon the self-governing island. But now the definition has obviously changed as China uses means such as drones. Okay. So we have adjusted and will view any crossing of aerial entities as a first strike, Chu explained. Now, the minister didn't specify how exactly Taipei intends to respond were Chinese aircraft to breach the island's airspace, but stressed that Taiwan's military definitely has its red line and will launch countermeasures once that line is in the island's defense is crossed. Okay, I think I read that one wrong. Chu also accused China of having destroyed a tacit agreement, I guess it's tacit, on military movements in the Taiwan Strait. the body of water that separates the island from mainland China, saying that Beijing's forces have been deliberately crossing the unofficial median line and have changed the status quo and established a new normal. Taipei's warning comes after China bolstered its military pressure and conducted a series of military exercises around the self-governing island ever since tensions between Beijing and Taipei escalated in early August. The escalation was prompted by the visit to Taiwan. You know all this stuff. No need in repeating all that. Anywho, so that's what's up with that. I've got 3 more tabs open, so that's why I'm kind of whipping through them, because I did have quite a few tabs open. Let me chillax, have a sip of coffee, a couple of vapes, and fun times. I am not looking forward to winter. Not even remotely. And by that, I'm not looking to winter living here or living in Hawaii and, remotely. Kidding. I wouldn't go to Hawaii. If I had the choice, if I could do it, if I had a choice where I could go, Hawaii would not be the choice I pick. Because, no. Common sense, yo. Whole lot of people. And really, in the whole scheme of things, not a whole lot of island. Not when it becomes self-sustainable. Or has to become self-sustainable, that is. I couldn't even imagine what it would be like on islands like that. Think we'd have chaos here. Think about being on the larger island and everything going crazy. Whatever you have on that island, when it happens, that's what you got. Hope it ain't tourist season. Anyway, UN issues dire warning on world economy. The world is on the edge of a recession, the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development warned on Monday in its report, citing aggressive monetary policies in advanced economies. According to the report, higher interest rates, including hikes by the U.S. Federal Reserve, could trigger an economic downturn even worse than the 2008 recession. All regions will be affected, but alarm bells are ringing most for the developing countries, many of which are edging closer to debt default, the report stated. East and Southeast Asia are reportedly set to post growth rates below those in the 5 years prior to the coronavirus pandemic. The agency pointed out that this year's interest rate hikes in the U.S. will cut an estimated $360 billion in future income for developing nations, excluding China. We still have time to step back from the edge of recession. Nothing is inevitable. We must change course. UNCTAD Secretary General Rebecca Greenspan said. Goodness. Overall, UNCTAD downgraded its 2022 global growth projection to 2.5% from 2.6%, estimated in its March assessment. The agency expects growth of 2.2% next year. Last month, the International Monetary Fund also warned that some countries may slip into recession in 2023 and revised its growth forecast downwards, which I find highly interesting because, and I'm not an economist, I'm not a financial guy, but not being a financial guy and just looking at what's going on, I would say we're already in a recession. I am personally more concerned about 2023 bringing a depression. And I really don't see any way around it. And I could be wrong. Maybe we're not right now but I thought we were. I thought we actually were in the technical definition of a recession right now. If you didn't change the definition. You know. I thought this was kind of crazy. Hang on. Coffee, vape. Alright, this happened in Thailand. More than 30 killed in shooting at Children's Center. More than 30 people, most of whom were kids, were killed in a gun and knife attack at a children's center in the northeast Thailand on Thursday, local police said. A total of 36 people, including 24 children, were among the victims of the massacre in the town of Uthai Saiwan in the country's Nong Bua Lampu province. At least 12 others were injured in the incident, according to police. The man who shot and stabbed people inside the facility fled the scene and went to his home, where he murdered his family before committing suicide. Thai law enforcement have identified the perpetrator as a former police officer who was recently released from service. Local media reported that the man had been sacked from the force due to drug problems and may have been under the influence at the time of the attack. The gunman made his way into the children's center around 12:30 p.m. during nap time, according to the authorities. He first shot four or five staff members, including a teacher who was 8 months pregnant, before attacking the children, district official Dudapa Bunsum told reporters. At first, people thought it was fireworks, Bunsum added. The victims of the massacre were as young as 2, according to the media. Thailand has a rather high rate of gun ownership, but mass shootings are rare in the country. The last such incident occurred in 2020 when a soldier who was angry about a property deal, I don't stutter, but I did that time, I'll blame Biden, killed at least 29 people and wounded 57 others in a rampage across 4 locations. So, are they super polite? I really don't, I don't know anything, I'm dumb when it comes to, when it comes to culture. I don't know a whole lot about different cultures. And to be honest, I kind of regret that I didn't take a little time to learn a little bit more, because it's pretty cool stuff. It really is some pretty cool stuff. But yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know they were known for being really nice, polite folks. Yeah, that's just insane. That is just insane. What a shame. I sit there and I try to think, what kind of drugs? Because, come on, you're not talking about somebody that grew up in a convent or something here. And I just don't know what kind of drugs. I mean, there again, it's not like I've been hooked on things like coke and meth and, you know what I mean? Amphetamine, stuff like that. So, I have no idea. I do know that people that abuse it get paranoid. I know that they get angry, they get violent. But to this level, I couldn't tell you. Because nobody around me had ever done it on that level. And I never have, so I have a really hard time grasping. I really do. That's what I'm saying. the drugs thing don't cut it for me as far as an explanation. The only way that it would is if he would be on something like LSD. You know, to be on something in that realm, a serious hallucinogen, not marijuana, but a serious hallucinogen, then okay, I could see it. But that's about it, really, when it comes to drugs. I don't know of any other, you know. And again, if somebody abused things like meth and stuff like that for a long period of time, I know that they can become angry and violent. And maybe that is all it took. So, I don't know. It's just crazy. Let's see. Hang on. Ukraine conflict spurs shady U.S. arms trade. I mean, it's kind of like we all knew it was happening, right? Hell, I didn't realize it was happening in the next state over from us. Like, what? Really? This is insane. A Bulgarian American from Missouri stood to make more than $2 million from brokering an arms deal with Ukraine until the New York Times ruined it by warning the authorities his paperwork wasn't quite right. According to the story published on Thursday, Martin Zlatov sought to sell Kiev weapons and ammunition made in Bulgaria and Bosnia-Herzegovina, which officially do not allow such trade. After Zlatov's limousine business in St. Louis was ruined by COVID-19 lockdowns, he partnered with local osteopath Heather Gajorzinski, I have no idea how you pronounce that, to profit from the shadowy market of private arms deals, according to the Times. Their company, BMI, made several deals with the Ukrainian government. One involved 2.2 million rounds of U.S. ammunition worth $25 million. Two more contracts worth about $5 million were for 540 RPG anti-tank weapons and 22 mortars coming out of Bosnia, as well as 900 surface-to-air missiles from Bulgaria. All shipments would go through Poland before being taken into Ukraine by truck. I am so glad that they just explain it all, how they do it. I just wish maybe that they would have, included the time and the road. That would be nice. Maybe give us a map. Maybe just put us a map. In order to get around the Bosnian, and by the way, didn't I just say, like, either yesterday or the day before, wasn't I talking about how it's just so odd that they put so much information out there? That just seems a tad bit off. I don't know. Maybe it's me. Let's see. In order to get around the Bosnian and Bulgarian export bans, BMI planned to tell the governments in Sarajevo, I don't remember how it's pronounced, and Sofia that Poland was the weapon's final destination, the Times reported, citing a letter Zlatov sent to Ukrainian procurement officials. We watched a movie that kind of went like this somehow. I can't remember what the name of the guy was that was in it. Kind of a big guy. Heavy-set guy. He was Troublemaker in movies. He played Troublemaker quite a bit. I can't remember, but that's what they were doing, was arms deals, and it was just not a bad movie. Not really a bad movie. Let's see. The legality of using falsified records is murky, says lawyers and academics who work in the field, the outlet noted. Zlatov and whatever their name is were acting as the middleman, using the fact that they had a U.S. government license. President Joe Biden's administration authorized over $300 million in private weapons contracts to Ukraine in the first 4 months of 2022. The approval process that normally takes weeks now takes a matter of hours, the Times noted, a letter from Zlatav told the Ukrainian Defense Ministry said they were approved in just 7 days, down from the regular 60. While the Times describes $300 million as a pittance compared to the $17.5 billion worth of weapons that the U.S. has sent to Ukraine, the official government aid is supposed to have stringent tracking requirements, though Kiev has objected to attempts by some U.S. lawmakers to implement these, while private sales have less oversight. I mean, to me, this stuff is just insane that it goes on. It's the Wild West, Olga Torres, a lawyer who serves on the Federal Defense Trade Advisory Group, told the Times. We are seeing a lot of people who were previously not involved in arms sales getting involved now because they see the opportunity. Zlatav and whatever her name is, both in their 40s, stood to make more than $2 million off the Ukrainian deal. The Times insinuated that they were also gouging Kiev in the process, charging 50% more than other vendors for bullets and more than double the usual cost of RPGs. The deal, which was almost finalized, fell through when the newspaper contacted the Ukrainian government with questions. Back in 2008, a pair of Florida 20-somethings were caught up in an arms trade scandal after scoring a $298 million Pentagon contract to supply the U.S.-backed regime in Afghanistan with ammunition. That movie that I'm telling you about was based on that, whatever the hell movie that was. A Incorporated tried to pass off Chinese bullets sanctioned by the U.S. as made in Hungary, but got caught, and both business partners ended up with federal convictions. Their story was fictionalized in the 2016 movie War Dogs. Well, there you go. I just needed to read the article. So yeah, not a bad movie. Not a bad movie. Not a great movie, but not a bad movie. Funny. Well, I thought it was funny. Then again, probably not a real good gauge for humor. 'Cause I'll laugh at some of the stupidest stuff. And sometimes I can have a pretty dark sense of humor. Fun times. Oh, man. Going to be having a massive cool down. In fact, I'm surprised it's not already getting kind of cool. Well, computer says 65 down there. Still got the windows open, so I'm not cold. So, it's supposed to be a cool one tonight, and even more cool tomorrow night. We've actually got, I think it's a frost warning tomorrow morning. Well, not tomorrow morning, the following morning. That's going to be fun. I hate cold. I really hate cold. Then it's going to warm back up, and I can quit whining. Whether or not I do... Oh, kidding. Huh. Okay. Reckon we can do some headlines. Assange's wife spars with John Bolton. And, I mean, they didn't, put on the gloves and get in the ring or nothing, but, you know. A deadly blast hits arms plant in Eastern Europe. Fast food giant accepts crypto. I think that was McDonald's. Or Ronald getting his crypto game on. UN issues dire warning on war... Oh, I read that article. Read that article. Musk feuds with U.S. Senator over Ukraine. Another EU member may seek war reparations from Germany. And hey, you know what? I've got some German in me, and I want reparations because that gives me a bad name because I got German in me, and I should have reparations. Yeah. Write the check, premium boy. All right. Let's see. EU Commissioner warns Ukraine on NATO bid. EU makes U-turn on sanctioning world's largest diamond miner, says media. U.S. should learn lessons from Cuban Missile Crisis, says Russian ambassador. Yeah, that's it. Jonah Hill. Sorry. Yeah, I just looked back up. Yep, Jonah Hill. That's the one. I absolutely suck when it comes to knowing actors and entertainers and stuff like that. I don't know. Not something I ever was into, I guess. I'm not much of a... I don't watch a lot of movies. I don't watch TV. Don't watch a lot of movies, so... Never have. I quit watching TV in 2006, but even before then, I wasn't a big TV watcher. Telegram CEO issues warning about WhatsApp security. EU approves new anti-Russia sanctions. Oh, okay. U.S. and Russia make headway in nuclear talks, says media. U.S. imports from Russia up despite sanctions, says U.S. Census Bureau. Media debunks Ukraine's fake about Russia. That's that article about being careful about what you post. German police call Nord Stream blast targeted sabotage, says Spiegel. U.S. may offer sanctions relief to Venezuela for oil, says Wall Street Journal. Russia ready to send gas to Europe via Nord Stream 2, says Moscow. EU sanctions new Russian territories. London Exchange further restricts Russian metals. A Russian-British activist faces 20-year sentence for treason, says media. Putin compares inflation in Russia and the EU. Polish, I can't say it for nothing. Polish president sets out nuclear ambition. President sorry after son's invasion threat. Europe faces deindustrialization and social unrest, says Belgian PM. Russia set for record grain harvest, says Burbank. EU must decide where it stands on Ukraine, says the Kremlin. Pound slides amid UK rating cut. Moscow wonders if Washington knows about Kiev's terrorism plans. Hell, they probably helped them. Top Russian senator urges Ukraine to start talks today. Not tomorrow, today. EU bans Russians from its crypto market. Serbia furious over latest anti-Russia sanctions. A former Uber executive convicted of data breach cover-up. Seoul responds to North Korean warplanes near its border. Russia and Iran agree to swap supplies of oil and gas, says senior official. German MEPs call for expulsion of, Bosconi, and I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. Israel puts military on alert after rejecting, I can't talk at all now, rejecting Lebanon deal. German cities overwhelmed with Ukrainian refugees, says media. Kremlin accuses Zelensky of trying to start a world war. Russians detained in Alaska after arriving by boat, says media. Belarus in nuclear danger, says president. Biden comments on potential meeting with Putin. There's enough evidence to indict Hunter Biden, says Washington Post. Where were you in, I don't know, 2020? 2019 would have been real nice. U.S. comments on idea of... I read that one. And that's it. That's it. Yay. Fun times. Not really. Just make sure you've got your cardboard where you know where it's at. Go ahead and pre-cut it to the size that you need. And you can go ahead and you can staple or nail the cardboard to your stick. You can go ahead and do all that. That's fine. You can just kind of set it up against the wall until it's time to... Because you don't know exactly how you're going to want to write "the end is nigh" on there until you know how the end is nigh. I mean, you might want to do a little bit of drawing, some pictorial things to help people understand the message. So... Yep, but you got to grow your beard out like mine. Women, too. Just kidding. I'm going to get lynched. No, I don't know. As usual, just keep an eye on all this nonsense. I really don't think it's time to run for the hills yet, but I do think it's, good idea to make sure you keep doing the things and getting ready. That day is coming. But it wasn't today. I don't think it's going to be tomorrow. Much past that, I'm not willing to put my name on. Because, things could slip. It is, I don't... Biden's statements about, where we stand right now. It's hard for me to think that there's not some agenda behind him doing that. I have to approach that from the angle that he's fear-mongering. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. Maybe he thinks that the way he's handling it, people will be more likely to support him in the upcoming election. Maybe that's all there is to it. I don't know, because there's a whole lot of stuff that they're doing that doesn't make any damn sense, and sure in the hell ain't going to help the Democrats when it comes to election time. So, there's that. Well, just like I say, keep your eyes open, because there's a lot at stake, and there's a lot of dirty players on the field. So really, anything's about possible. With that happy note, I am going to get off of here. God willing, we'll be back Sunday. I appreciate you coming. Hope to see you again on Sunday. I hope you all have a great weekend. Have a great Shabbat. And as always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.